Jai Hind. In the shadowy corridors of Kashmir's insurgency, where terror groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba LET operate with stealth and savagery, the Indian armed forces have long waged a tireless war against proxy enemies of the state. Let's get into the details with MND, the futurists. But before that, do hit the subscribe button now. On May 13, 2025, that war entered a decisive chapter, Operation Keller. It wasn't just a counter-terror mission, it was a message, loud and clear and surgical. The intel that sparked the fire, it started as a most such missions do with intelligence. A high-value target, Shahid Kuttay, commander of LET and operational head of its shadowy offshoot, the Resistance Front TRF, had been traced to the Keller area in Shopian. Kuttay wasn't just a name, he was the architect behind a string of civilian killings, attack on Indian soldiers, and a key recruiter radicalizing local youth into a spiral of extremism. But this time, the tables turned. Acting on precise and actionable inputs, the Indian Army, Jammu and Kashmir Police, and CRPF sealed off the area. No room for escape, no room for error. The clash, nightfall with zero mercy. The clock struck past midnight as darkness cloaked the valley. Soldiers moved like phantoms through the terrain. And then the silence snapped. An intense gunfight erupted, echoing through the hills. The terrorists, well armed and desperate, retaliated with everything that they had. But this was not a routine skirmish. It was well planned, coordinated retaliation, professional, methodical, and deadly. With ours, 3 high-value militants were neutralized. Among them, Shahid Kuttay, a man who had eluded security forces for years, now lay lifeless, bringing an end to one of the most dreaded local faces of terror. The whole terrorism arsenal unearthed. Once the dust settled, what was recovered stunned every even seasoned officers. AK series rifles, grenades, warlike stores, encrypted communication devices, a small private army's worth of supplies. It was clear these were not mere operatives, they were part of an active operational command cell, and that cell had just been disbanded. What's the strategic impact and chain reaction? Operation Keller wasn't an isolated success, it was a domino. By taking down the TRF's operational nerve center, India dismantled not just a cell but an ideology's forward operating base. It sent ripples across Pakistan's ISI-backed terror networks, shaking their confidence, or reasserted India's capacity to strike with precision, not only on the battlefield but also in the theater of information warfare. Shopian was no longer just a place on a map, it became a symbol of assertion. But what's the message? No more safe havens. With Operation Keller, India reaffirmed an unflinching doctrine. You can run, you can plot, but you cannot outlast the Indian state. For those who believed they could embed terror within local soil and escape retribution, Keller was a reckoning. To globalize watching India's counter-terror strategy, Keller was a masterclass in the integrated ops. And to the silent patriots across the nation, Keller was justice served not in a courtroom but on the ground with grit and steel. Operation Keller is not just a mission, it's a statement. The Indian tricolor doesn't just fly in the wind, guys. It moves with the storm. I hope you find this video informative. I will see you in the next video. Jai Hind and Jai Bharat.